All right, we're back here on Titans Talk. Titans a winner yesterday, 24-13 over the rival Houston Texans. By the way, they're now 4-1 in the AFC South, which puts the Titans obviously 8-4 overall, but that division record is something they made a big deal about this year. A year ago, just so many struggles within the division. They couldn't beat the Texans, at least until the season finale. They couldn't beat the Colts. That long losing streak against Indy continued. And that's why they didn't win the division last year. That was the difference between 9-7 being good enough to get into the playoffs and 9-7 not being good enough to get into the playoffs. And this year they've been able to turn that around. And the Titans are now 4-1 in the division, in great shape, with a chance to go 5-1, chance to win the division final week of the season against the Jaguars in all likelihood. Phone line still open. 737-7767 is the number. Let's go to Darius. Darius, thanks for the call. Thanks for waiting. You are next up here on Titans Talk. Hello, Darius.
Yes.
Yeah, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Okay. What do the Titans need to do to make the playoffs?
I think they need to keep doing what they're doing, and that's just win football games. But they're in a great position right now because here's the thing. After the Titans, who currently hold the division lead, by the way, because of the tiebreaker over the Jaguars, the Jags are a wild card team, and then your other wild card team is the Ravens at 7-5. And so, or I'm sorry, yeah, 7-5 at this point. Titans are 8-4. So you're a game up there on the final wild card spot. But then after that, you're talking about teams that are 6-6. And so you're 2 full games up there with 4 to play. And on top of that, some of those teams, like the blanket on the team now. Well, one of the teams very much in the mix right there, they've got a tiebreaker advantage on. They have the tiebreaker advantage within the division on the Jaguars, and they have a tiebreaker advantage on the Ravens too, by the way. So that 2-game lead gives you a lot of equity at this point of the season. And so if they just go take care of business against these 2 teams the next couple of weeks, they're going to be in a great shape. So the Titans very much look to be headed to the playoffs. The real question, though, and they will tell you this is their number one goal, is to win the division. Because if you win the division, you get a home game in the first round. And so that's the big thing for them right there is win that division. Keep on winning games here, continue to stay in front of the Jaguars, and try to be the 3 seed. Or if you can't even, get a first-round bye. But that's their goal right now, is to get that division championship. That's probably a 50-50 proposition because the Jags are right there. They've played great football as well. And it's probably going to come down to Week 17. But in terms of simply making the playoffs, it would be difficult for the Titans to be in a much better position than they are right now heading into December. Darius, we appreciate the call. Phone lines are still open, 737-7767. I do want to ask this question, though, because we have questions like that. There is some excitement about the Titans getting back to the playoffs for the first time in basically a decade. They're in first place right now. They're 8-4. They've won 6 of their last 7 games. There should be a lot of momentum about this team and about this season here in the city of Nashville. And yesterday when you looked at that game, first off, the people who were there were loud. They were into it. They were excited. It was a great atmosphere. At the end of the game yesterday, Jeff Allen had 3 foul starts in a row before they even had a snap on a 4th down play for the Texans. They went from 4th and 4 to 4th and 19. And I think all the credit there goes to the crowd. It was just so loud that it was difficult for them to communicate. It was difficult for them to be on the same page. So the people who were there were into it. They were fired up. But if you looked at the crowd yesterday, Nissan Stadium seats 69,000 people. The announced crowd was 62,000 for tickets distributed, which even if you just buy that for what it's worth, that's still 7,000 or so people who didn't buy tickets, who could have bought tickets, and show up to the game and cheer on the team. And I think there were more empty seats than that. I think there were 10, 12, 13,000 empty seats there yesterday. So my question to you is, with everything going on, with the Titans getting to 8-4 now, being in first place, looking like they're headed back to the playoffs, why is the excitement not there? Do you simply not believe with this team? Do you look at some of the warts we talked about earlier and the fact that they gave up 330 yards passing and just say, I don't believe this is a legit contender? The offensive struggles, Mariota only throwing for 150 yards. I think he played well, but only 23 pass attempts, only 150 yards passing. Do you just say that that's not good enough offensively? It's not an exciting enough brand of football for you? A little bit of fool's gold maybe against the schedule in the AFC South? Is it a lack of excitement? Do you just think this team isn't good enough, or is there something else? Have the Titans lost you in some way over a decade of futility, frankly, as a football team, but also with what game day's like? Maybe it's not just the Titans, maybe it's the NFL. What is keeping you, if you're one of them, what is keeping you from not showing up on Sunday? From not being a part of what could be 69,000 strong at this point, excitedly cheering on their team that's headed back to the playoffs for the first time in a long time? What's keeping you from that point? Phone lines are open, 737-7767. Or maybe I'm making too much of that. Maybe you're ecstatic. Maybe you haven't been as excited about the Titans as you are right now for a long time. Call us up and tell us about that as well. But it does just feel, because I remember saying it last year when we were talking about the Predators during the Stanley Cup final playoff run. And we saw the crowds and how they grew and what Bridgestone Arena's atmosphere was like. And then the crowds outside and the parties and the watch parties and everything that came with that. It was a craze. And this city was absolutely in love with this team. They were captivated by everything that they did. And I just remember several people, including Titans players, saying at the time, because they were in their offseason workouts and at night they would go and they would cheer on the Predators just like the rest of us. I remember those guys saying, gosh, if we gave this city that team, because it's been so long, if we won that amount of games, if we got to the playoffs, if we were a division champion, just imagine what it would be like for us. Because we, after all, are the NFL. And this is the South and it's football. And there's no question the South loves its football. No question about that. So why is this different? I mean, clearly the atmosphere, you're talking about an outdoor stadium that seats 69,000 versus an indoor stadium that seats 17. I get all that. But there was literally a buzz for 2 months last spring about the Predators and their playoff run and the quest to get the cup for the first time ever. It was unbelievable. I mean, you remember it. I don't need to tell you that. But I think a lot of people thought that the moment the Titans showed a glimpse of that they were competent, that they were winning games, that they could compete in the division, that they would go to the playoffs, that people would jump on board with that and they would be there. And you don't have to give me well, if they do it, we'll see what it's like next year. That may be true to some extent, but it happened as it happened with the Predators. When they got there, it changed everything for their fan base and what this city felt like. It was just a craze, and we haven't seen that yet with the Titans. So my question to you is why? Call us up. 737-7767 is the number. Let's go to line 1 and Joe. Joe, thanks for the call.
Thanks for letting me talk. I'm a Titans fan, but I'm going to tell you the truth. It's like watching paint dry. And I realize they're winning this stuff, and they always brag about the offensive line and the running game. And man, they get a lot of the times they get tackled in the backfield. I mean, teams are and it ain't just one team. They were getting 2 and 3 yard loss on the runs, which is fairly rare deal. Most times you at least make it to the line.
Yeah, well, yesterday they ran for 198 yards.
Yeah, one reason is because of Henry's long run, but I'm not complaining about that. They done better yesterday, but they don't. Their offense just doesn't have any imagination to it. And you ask why, why the attendance has dropped off and stuff. I've got friends of mine which were NFL fans, and after all the kneeling and stuff and disrespect, they said they would never come back and never listen to it again. They don't even. I asked them later, and they don't even know what the scores are. So it's the NFL shot themselves in the foot. They let these guys that want to act a fool, take and do all that stuff and disrespect the flag and all the soldiers that died for that, and then the NFL come out and said, well, we're gonna spend a few million on trying to teach everybody this and that, instead of telling them to stand up. But I just, I'm not. One thing I know about Titans, the last two quarterbacks they've been running quarterbacks, and then they try to make pocket quarterbacks out of them. Mariota's not a great passer, and he's okay, but yesterday in the game, whenever they were like 3rd and 11, and he took off on the side, and the guy went in close to him, and he slid. Sometimes you got to go for it, and I didn't like that much. I didn't like that much because it's just I watch them every game, but it's just like pulling teeth. It's hard to watch.
Joe, let me ask you this, because I've actually heard a couple other people say that they feel like the words you used was watching paint dry, hard to watch. What do you want to see? Because I guess when I look out there, and I watch a ton of NFL games every weekend because it's my job, obviously, there aren't a lot of teams that are just beautiful watches every week. I think the Eagles this year have been, but certainly not before this year. I think the Patriots generally are, obviously, but they're the best team in the NFL kind of year in and year out. And I think this season the Saints have been phenomenal. After that, I struggle to find a team that just week in and week out is just constantly beautiful to watch. And the reason to me, more than anything, is the NFL's full of parity. All of these guys get paid, and it's difficult to go out there and win games. So I guess my question to you is, what do you have to see from the Titans to feel differently about it?
Well, they struggle. They really struggle to get first downs. And like I say, their running game it was better the other day, but the last few weeks, it's just been dead in their offensive line. It's just not knocking holes. And their defense is kind of a, run, the bend but not break defense, and seem like they buckle up when they have to. But I don't know. It's just, like I say, I'm not, I'm all for Mariota. I'm all for him. But I'm just not sure he's the one, because we need a passing quarterback, and Delanie Walker is a head and shoulders above all the rest of the receivers there, and Decker may be the second best. That this rookie we got and stuff.
Well, Rashard Matthews, and thanks for the call, Joe. Rashard Matthews has been their leading receiver for 2 years now. He obviously has been hurt the last 2 weeks, which hurts the offense. Marcus Mariota's put up numbers in his first 2 years as a quarterback that are elite numbers when it comes to passing. This has been an off year production-wise. I think a lot of that goes to the leg injury in the offseason, certainly the hamstring injury during the year. But to a man over there in that building, they believe Marcus Mariota is the guy to lead them to the promised land, both as a passer and as a runner, the dual threat aspect to his game. So I certainly would not sell him short. Hey, Taylor, I'm going to need your help here. Who's on 2? Red, thanks for the call. You are next up here on Titans Talk. Hello, Red.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for the call.
Why are they not protecting my quarterback, for one?
I think they've done a remarkable job of protecting your quarterback, other than 2 games, the Bengals game and the Steelers game.
Exactly.
He got sacked 9 times in those games, and that was bad. But you're talking about 2 of the best pass rushes in the entire NFL in those 2 games. And in games where they had to throw the ball, especially the Pittsburgh game, they had to throw the ball a ton so guys could go back and do it. But other than that, and they've played 12 games now, the other 10 games, he has been very well protected.
Yes, he has. And then another question is, why is you can't, you got to be rich going to the stadium and buy food, beer, whatever anymore. It's high price. They need to drop them prices too, bring back the fans.
Yeah, that may be it. Unfortunately, I don't think at this point in time, Red, the ticket prices for professional sporting games are going down anytime soon. But maybe that is part of the problem. Maybe they've priced their way out of some of their fan base. But to me, I think it's deeper than that. And what I don't know is I don't know if it's an organizational issue. I mean, there have been a lot of problems around here for a decade now. Is it frustration of fans over the long haul and saying, okay, well, now you're good, but I'm not totally sold on this team or this organization because of what's happened before here? Is it about this team in particular where people just aren't a believer, kind of think they're a fraud at this point? Or is it maybe even deeper than that and goes to some of the NFL issues that I think Joe, the first caller, brought up, just about the anthem protest and some of the other politics, the domestic violence issues in the NFL, all of those sort of things? I do think they've rubbed people the wrong way. And I think it plays a factor. I just don't know how widespread that is. Is that the reason why TV ratings are down across the board in the NFL, or attendance in stadiums is down across the board? I don't know the answer. And that's what I'm asking for you people. Back to the phones we go. Let's say hello to Danny. Danny, thanks for the call.
Hey, thank you. I didn't want to call tonight because I didn't want to be negative, because I'm a big Titans fan, and I wouldn't have anything negative to say, I guess, a couple hours ago, but I saw a interview with Delanie Walker, and so that sort of riled me up a little bit. Delanie was always my favorite the last few years. I thought he was the best offensive player on the field, and he still is an awfully good football player. But I saw an interview with him from yesterday, I guess, and he was just all jacked up, saying that he's going to carry this team on his shoulders, and that's the way it is, and he wants the ball. He's going to carry the team on his shoulder. He can do it. And I guess he forgot, that he dropped that touchdown pass that was right in his hands just a couple of weeks ago.
Sure.
And also, I'm still haven't forgot, when he told the fans goodbye earlier this year. Listen, I'm a senior, and I know I'm set in my ways and everything. And, you guys, younger guys, are just hang on, in a few years we'll be gone, you don't have to put up with our old school stuff anymore. But I think one of the other callers, mentioned this, about how the league has what it's become. At times it seems like a WWF, just a bunch of trash talk and such. And I think that's turned a lot of people off on the whole league, not just the Titans, but I don't care if the Titans win ugly or not. I'm glad that they win. But I think the whole culture of the NFL has just changed. That's turned a lot of people off,
Yeah, and no, there may be something to that, and I appreciate the call, Danny. By the way, I hope you have a lot more than a few years left to call us up here or bug us or however you put it. But I think the one thing I want to point out about Delanie Walker and a lot of these players, because I've heard people single out certain guys throughout the protest and everything that's gone on. And look, if you don't like the protest, if you don't like the kneeling, if you don't like that, that's your right. Certainly, that's an opinion that you can have, and I don't even think you're wrong for it. I think reasonable minds can differ on both sides. But the thing that gets me a little bit is when people single out certain people, and I'm not saying that you necessarily did this, Danny, but I know a lot of people have brought up Delanie Walker because there was an earlier interview with him where he did say, if you don't like what we're doing as football players and you want to not come because of it, fine. We feel like this is important, so if you just can't handle that, then you do what you feel like is important and goodbye. And I know a lot of people took that the wrong way, and it probably wasn't the best thing he could have said, but I'll also say I was there that day, and he talked for 7 minutes, and a lot of it was really, really thoughtful stuff and wasn't negative about the fans or certainly the military or their anthem or anything like that. But what ran, because this is how the business works and all that, the most provocative and best soundbite from it, the most telling soundbite, was that 17 to 20 seconds. And that's what everybody heard. And the context to it all is greater than that. And I think Delanie's done a good job with all his other actions since this then of trying to make a point about how much he cares about the military, how much he cares about the country, how much he cares about the fans in the stands. And yesterday, before we even started talking to him in the locker room, he said, hold on. Before you ask any questions, I want to say the fans today were awesome. They were loud. They were proud. They helped us win. That stretch with the 3 false starts was incredible, and that is all on them. That had nothing to do with us as players. They were our 12th man, and that's awesome. Okay, that said, now you guys can all talk. I mean, I think he's gone out of his way to not walk back from that statement because he meant it at the time. But he also loves his fans and loves this team and everything about it too. So be careful when it's about the individuals and the criticism of that, because when you're not there every day and you only hear a soundbite and not all the context, it's easy to maybe overgeneralize how they feel or what they think about something. And this is a much deeper, it's a nuanced issue. We've discussed it a lot on this program. I don't necessarily want to bring that back up tonight, but I think Delanie Walker's been an excellent ambassador for the Titans, as well as being a Pro Bowl tight end, one of the best in the entire league. He's been an excellent ambassador for the city, for the organization, and all of that. And I think people need to remember that. All right, we got to take a break here. We will come back. More of your phone calls, plus possibly some breakdowns from last night's game as well. Stay tuned. This is Titans Talk on NewsChannel 5+.